Hello and welcome to session 2 of Supporting Children with Anxiety and Additional Needs by Healthy Minds Lincolnshire. Before you start this part of the workshop, we want to make sure that you've completed session 1 and taken some time to digest the information. If you're ready, we'll get started.
So in this session, we're going to be looking at exploring behaviour as communication, learning how to connect before you correct your young person, modelling the model. So this is about showing your young person the types of behaviours you would like to see by demonstrating this yourself, understanding triggers and how to say no to your young person when needed. We're going to look at some coping strategies, and finally we'll talk through self-care and the importance of this.
We are now going to talk about seeing behaviour as communication. All behaviour is a communication, and if we can keep this in mind, we are less likely to be frustrated by the behaviour of our young person. Thinking, what does this behaviour mean, instead of they're doing that on purpose, they know it's naughty, gets them into trouble, or why do they always play up in the supermarket, can help us to feel less frustrated. Remember what we said in the first session about challenging negative thoughts and considering the following. Is there another way of looking at this? What's the bigger picture? Is my reaction in proportion to the actual event? What advice would I give someone else? Is this really as important as it seems? Will I feel this way in 1 week, 1 month, 1 year from now? What would someone I trust say about the situation? Is this always the case? Is this fact or my opinion? It is important to focus on the cause of the behaviour, as sometimes we may blame the young person rather than looking at what's happening for them, or think that they just do it to get their own way. They're attention seeking, they're manipulative. Remember what we discussed in the last session, that children with anxiety and additional needs can struggle to communicate their feelings. However, with consistent and empathetic support, they will start to feel safe. I know some of you may be thinking, but my child does sometimes play up to get their own way. They're not always struggling with something. All children will demonstrate negative behaviours, and sometimes this might be because they don't want to go to the supermarket, for example. They would rather stay at home and watch TV. We are not suggesting that whenever your young person shows negative behaviour, it's always because they are struggling to communicate a problem to you. But it's worth considering this first.
We will now look at how anxiety can manifest in terms of behaviour, and how sometimes behaviour can be intense and is often referred to as challenging. We may see behaviour such as aggression, throwing things, pulling other people's hair, biting or pinching, self-injury or harm, banging their head, biting their knuckles, for example, damage to property, breaking or destroying things, repetition, rocking, repetitive speech and repetitive actions, or socially inappropriate behaviour, screaming, running away or taking their clothes off. Managing challenging behaviour can be incredibly stressful for caregivers. Regular outbursts may be common in your family, or they may be so out of character that it's tricky to work out what's caused it. It's likely that your young person may be communicating their needs or emotions, responding to difficult circumstances, or using these behaviours to self-soothe or meet sensory needs. When a young person learns that shouting or banging their head, for example, means that their needs are met, or means that they leave the situation that's causing distress, such as being in a busy supermarket, they will naturally begin to see their behaviour as a way of getting what they need. This is called learned behaviour. However, it's not to be confused with manipulative behaviour. Children with additional needs do not do this on purpose.
As well as struggling to communicate their needs, your young person may also find it difficult to respond to others, take longer with their responses, and misinterpret social cues. It may take them longer to process words or instructions. So, for example, if you gave them the instruction to go to the top of the stairs and take a t-shirt from their third drawer, they may remember to go to the top of the stairs, but not what they need to do next. Using written lists, visual reminders, or short and precise requests are likely to result in a successful outcome. Their frustration at forgetting can be a trigger for negative behavioural responses. They may be confused by too many words, so simplifying your language can also be helpful, such as using a few key words like coat on, shoes on, to get your request across. Remember that your young person may also take things literally, such as it's raining cats and dogs, and they will look to see where the cats and dogs are. We need to think sometimes of what we are saying and how our child may be interpreting it.
So connecting before correcting your child can work really well at calming your child down, but also getting the result that you're after. So for example, if your young person has left their clothes on the bedroom floor and you've asked them several times already to pick them up, it can be really tempting to say, "Why haven't you picked those clothes up yet? Go and do it now." You might find that your young person gives you a negative reaction though when you respond to them like this. If you connect before correcting them, this can work well. So hugs also work well here. For example, hugging and then maybe saying, "Those clothes are still on the bedroom floor. Did you forget to pick them up?" Notice the difference in response here. How would you react differently in this scenario? How do you think your young person would react differently?
Connection can also help during times when you notice your young person is struggling with their emotions. Gently reassuring them and telling them that you understand that they feel this way and that it's okay to feel that way can be helpful. For example, you can start by connecting with them by giving them a hug or a squeeze of the hand and say something along the lines of, "I can see that you're feeling really angry right now. Is there anything that I can do to help, or do you need a few moments to calm down?"
We're now going to talk you through modelling the model, and we have a quote here that explains this. So when little people are overwhelmed by big emotions, it's our job to share their calm and not join in their chaos. Modelling the model is about showing the behaviour you would like to see from your young person by doing this yourself. So, for example, if your young person is having a meltdown and you stay calm, this demonstrates to them about how you deal with stress and frustration, and they will eventually start to mirror this behaviour themselves. We know this is really difficult and it will take some time and practice, but keep trying with it and keep trying to stay calm.
When we place a demand on our young people or say no to them, this can often be a trigger for an increase in anxiety, and we may see some negative behaviour. How we phrase our instructions affects how our young person may react. There are some different things you can try. Remember what we have learned about connecting first. Connecting first with "I love you." Your response could be, "I love you," but the answer is still no. When the no is delivered with compassion and kindness, it doesn't feel as bad. So for example, if your young person wants ice cream, but you want them to eat first, rather than saying, "No, you can't have that ice cream," try saying, "I can understand why you want ice cream, but we're going to eat dinner first," or "dinner first, then ice cream." You can also try using different words or symbols to show how they can do whatever it is that they want to do later, using visual supports, for example. First we put the clothes away, then we play a game. Can be shown with pictures.
Triggers can also play a big part in how we respond and communicate. Triggers are things that we react to. Some may be a tiny thing that just annoy us, and others might be big things that make us feel like we're going to explode. Sometimes there's a clear trigger or event that will explain your young person's change in emotional well-being, but sometimes it's unclear. You're probably already aware that things will be a trigger for your young person may not be for you, so things like sound, light, colour, texture, change in routine or new people can all be triggers.
Over the course of the day, there are lots of demands placed on your young person. Each of these demands is like shaking a bottle of pop, and when the pressure is too full, boom, it explodes. These demands can be managed if they are routine and expected. However, we appreciate that there may be times when your routine has to change. Remember how we talked about having to take a different route to the supermarket because the road was closed in session 1. Sometimes change is unexpected, but remember to model the behaviour you want to see. Stay calm, speak to your young person clearly and explain what is happening using short, reassuring sentences. It can be helpful to shift the focus onto something else, such as singing a song in the car or talking about one of their interests. So for example, the road's closed but it's okay because I know another way to get there. Tell me a bit about your new train set.
Noticing when and where these changes happen can be useful. ABC charts are really handy for this. You can find an ABC chart on pages 13 and 14 of your booklet. This chart helps to break down what was happening, when this happened, what took place before the event, the antecedent, the behaviour, and finally the consequence, what directly followed the behaviour. Completing this chart can help establish what or why something has triggered a behaviour or response from your young person. It's important to keep track of this and complete this regularly to help build up a picture of what's going on. So, your next mission. Over the next week, complete the ABC chart to help identify your young person's triggers. You can pause the video to take a look at the example of the ABC chart in your booklet. When you're ready, just press play.
Welcome back. Another useful tool that you can use to help your young person communicate how they are feeling is called the thermometer. It's really important that you do this with your young person and agree at each stage the steps you will take. So these might be the steps that you or a trusted adult can help with, or the steps that your young person can do on their own to help them calm themselves down. It's really important to practice this in advance, as when your child is mid-meltdown or highly anxious, it's unlikely to work. It's important to put these strategies in place beforehand to stop them getting to that stage. There is a worksheet on the thermometer in your booklet on page 15. Once you've completed this workshop, we would like you to try it at home with your young person.
Sometimes we need to think about the things that we can do to help distract us away from our anxiety. We talked in the last session about what-if worries and learning to let these go by using positive coping strategies. On page 16 of your booklet, there's some space for you to write your positive coping strategies. These are things that you may currently do that work well, or it could be things that you've heard about and really want to give it a go. We're now going to give you some time to make a list of these things. You can pause the video, and when you're ready, just press play.
Welcome back. We are now going to talk you through some coping strategies that you might find beneficial. You can add any of these to the list you have already completed. The first is to use visual charts, which we have briefly mentioned earlier on in the session. A visual chart with pictures can help remind your young person of what they can do when they start to feel frustrated, worried or angry. Visual timetables of what they need to do in the morning, their morning routine, or other points in the day can also be beneficial. Your visual timetable may look like this. Between 7 and 7:30 we'll be eating breakfast. Between 7:30 to 7:45 we'll brush our teeth. At 7:45 to 8 o'clock we will get dressed. At 8 o'clock to 8:10 we will put our shoes on and leave the house. Visual supports can be used in most situations to help communication, provide structure and routine, encourage independence, build confidence, improve understanding, avoid frustration and anxiety, and provide opportunities to interact with others.
Using basic symbols or calendars when you've got an event like a party can also be helpful. If you want to give your young person a choice of activities, but this might be confusing or overwhelming for them, a choice board with pictures or a small number of different activities can be useful. This can also be used with other things such as food and picking what they want to eat. Emotion symbols, cards that show what you need to do first before doing something else, a list of rules and using timers can also be beneficial. Other things that might help your young person's sensory needs are things like squishies, slime, massages, weighted blankets, eye masks, ear defenders, tangles, gym balls, trampolines, or certain textures, materials or lights. Many of these items are available from specialist retailers, but they are becoming widely available now from a number of online companies.
Research shows that relaxation and mindfulness is really important for both our physical health and emotional well-being. It's the ability to be fully present of what we are doing, where we are, and not be overwhelmed with things that are around us. We are now going to talk you through some relaxation and mindfulness strategies that you can try with your young person. There are various breathing exercises you can try with your young person to help slow your heart rate down, slow your breathing, and help you and your young person to feel relaxed and calm. Both square breathing and finger breathing work by taking a deep breath in through your nose, holding it for 3 to 4 seconds, and then breathing out through your mouth. With square breathing, you follow this breathing pattern by following the square. With finger breathing, you follow this by tracing around your fingers. For young people who find touch soothing, finger breathing may be a helpful exercise to calm them. These exercises are in page 17 of your booklet, so give them a go with your young person. Lying on the floor with a favourite toy on their tummy and watching the toy go up and down can also be a good grounding activity. Another grounding activity is to think about 5 things you can see around the room, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can feel, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This helps to keep you in the present and here and now. Healthy Minds have several videos using different relaxation techniques on our website, so please take a look at these.
An important thing to be aware of when supporting your young person is of too much reassurance. Excessive reassurance can lead children to think that the only way to reduce their anxiety is to seek reassurance from an adult and that they're unable to cope with unpleasant emotions themselves. Reassurance sends a message to the brain that worrying thoughts must be important and that these thoughts demand immediate action. While some reassurance is good, if we do it too much, it can take away the independence that a young person needs, and this in turn affects their confidence and self-esteem. A brief and confident statement, such as, "You can do it," shows that you believe in them. However, children with additional needs often need more information, such as, "You can do it, you've done it before." The important thing is to keep information brief and to the point. Anxious children tend to require more and more reassurance over time to get the same soothing effect. It can easily become compulsive behaviour. Therefore, It's important for young people to learn that they can comfort themselves without always relying on an adult to help. This also builds that confidence and self-esteem.
Another thing to be aware of is your young person's medication. Sometimes changes in behaviour are caused by an increase in medication or a sensitivity to a new medication. If you notice any changes in your young person's behaviour and they have recently been prescribed medication or their medication has been changed, keep a diary to help identify what changes have occurred and seek medical advice.
On pages 18 and 19 of your booklet, write down one of the main challenges that you experience with your young person. Using the blank 5-area model in the booklet, write down how this challenge makes you think, how it makes you feel, what you feel in your body, or what you notice change in your body when this challenge presents itself, and finally, how this makes you behave. Make a note of what you can say to yourself to challenge your negative thoughts. Finally, think about how you can change your reaction, your behaviour to model the model. What new strategies that you've learnt in this workshop might you put in place? If you're currently working with a Healthy Minds Lincolnshire practitioner, do this before your next check-in.
Remember, remind your child to use coping strategies like slow, mindful breathing and encourage them to challenge their negative thoughts with support. Behaviour is communication. Completing an ABC diary could help you to understand triggers. Be consistent and model the model. Communicate in clear and short sentences. Use visual timetables and signs. Reward positive behaviour with lots of praise. And then activities can diffuse anger or anxiety.
Self-care is really important, so do make some time for this. It doesn't have to be complicated, so doing things you enjoy like your hobbies or taking time out to have a bath or read a book are all really important so that you can feel stronger, re-energised and able to support your young person. Practice makes perfect with the strategies that we've talked you through, and it's a bit like riding a bike. The first time you maybe learnt how to ride a bike, you might have been a little bit wobbly and needed stabilisers. When the stabilisers were eventually removed, you might have even fallen off your bike. And it's a bit like that with these strategies. Practice will make perfect, so keep trying with them and keep taking time out for you.
One way to manage self-care is to think of our bodies as energy banks. We need to put enough positive energy in to be able to do the everyday things and cope with the challenges that life throws at us. On page 20 of your workbook, there is a blank energy bank. We would like you to add some ideas of what you can do that's positive to put energy into your bank. Then every day you need to keep a log of what's putting energy in, so the positive things that you are doing, and what's taking energy out, and if possible, avoid these things. It's really important that you put enough positive things in that you enjoy to counteract the things that are taking your energy out, to make sure you stay positive and take care of yourself. There is an example of an energy bank on the screen now. We will give you a moment to take some time and look at this. Once you've completed the workshop, try creating your own in your booklet.
Welcome back. We've now reached the end of our two-part workshop. We've got some resources here that you might find useful, and we've also included them on the last page of your booklet. Do take some time to try out the strategies that we've talked through and to also look through your booklet.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you found these workshop sessions helpful. There are lots of other videos that we have created on our website, so go check them out, such as relaxation and other workshops. We would really appreciate your feedback, so if you can, take the time, just 2 minutes, to complete our Survey Monkey. You can find this link on the website, or it's on the last page of your booklet. Thank you again.
And good luck.